All right, all right. Oof, there it is, world. There it is, man. There it is, man. That's another one, man. I had to get in the camera just to let you know I existed. Now, here's the thing, man. It's the same thing. Check this out, bro. Same shit, different day. Same shit, different day. You know what I'm saying? It's the same shit, different day. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we back in them university spaces. Right now you're looking at a strawberry frappuccino. Now I'm gonna talk to you about this in a second. Some people are like, oh shit, this motherfucker going to Starbucks. He's supporting Starbucks. Yeah, all right, it's right there. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? If there was some other shit, like the other spots that I like to go by frequently, it's funny. I actually got an Americano earlier, but that's beside the point. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's stay a little focused before we get into the strawberry frappuccino. Ah, I'll put this right here. Let me put this on the side right here. Check this out, man. We're gonna start off reminding everybody about what it is that all of this is all about. You know what I'm saying? It's the university mindset, trying to tap you into it as much as possible weekly. You know what I'm saying? We're doing these things in succession and as often as we possibly can. So I'm only getting a few days. I'm only getting a few hours here and there. So I'm trying to utilize the time. But we got to plan things for the future just in case shit don't work out. You got to always create things for the future, right? Set yourself up, set things up for the future. Check this out, man. Check this out, man. Um, got the phone propped up right here with the hoodie, but we got the setting right here. We got all the seats and tables here. But the university mindset, man, it don't matter if you're within these university spaces like we got right now, university spaces, university places, things like that, things of to that effect, to that accord, however you want to look at it, whatever word and verbiage you want to use. Um, you got to understand, man. A lot of people go there to get certifications and get degrees that'll sit there and hopefully get them jobs and even validate them in the future or in the long run. And that's a good feeling. You know what I mean? You're paying for something. Sometimes you go into debt just to get that education. Sometimes it's paid for you, depending on the type of student you were in high school, if not, beforehand, scholarships and whatnot, But hey, man, you understand the threshold and the degrees of things that you can handle in your life and the things that you already have handled. You understand the degree of things that you've already went through and that you're planning to go through next. So based off of that, you yourself can certify yourself. I'm not saying you can certify yourself as a surgeon. There might be some people like you go around the world. There's some people in some like really war-torn countries, and they're really good surgeons, and they're not necessarily certified. They didn't do no 8 to 12 years up in no college doing no, you know what I'm saying, paying stuff and then using like sterilized equipment. They're just using straight up fire and just whatever they got with them, shit like that, little scraps. But they're over here doing surgical work. Yeah, you can argue that it might not be clean or aseptic or whatever, you know what I'm saying, like sterile, if you will. But nonetheless, you got people in other places. So what I say is you can certify yourself. You can certify yourself as a human being because you understand the degrees of things that you can handle and the things that you've handled already up to this point. That's the point I'm trying to make here. You understand? So when I say the university mindset, a lot of people hold a value to people that, especially like immigrant families and stuff. We hold a value to people that went to school, they got a degree, they got a certification, but we forget to like appreciate and love the little things in life. So when you leave the house, make sure you certify yourself. You understand? Make sure you kind of undo all that stuff where people put a certain type of pressure on you. If not if you ain't this, you ain't shit. Like my mom used to be that way, where she would wonder like, damn, you ain't a hold on, man. What's Oh, that's the I was looking at the screen like, why is this a marker right here? I'm tripping. Um, my mom would be like, damn, you're not a firefighter, you're not a policeman. You like she's damn near talked to me like I wasn't shit, and it would make me laugh because it was what it was. But at the same time, I'm like, shit, that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Because me as a human being, like the other things that I do in life should have been valued, but they weren't. So that's why I try to tell people when I say university mindset, make sure you certify yourself. You balance the stuff within inside, and then you make sure you get that underway. Now, speaking of which, that's a good segue. Yo, check this out, man. This is a strawberry frappuccino. This is a pastime for me. I put the fucking whipped cream on top. This shit is just it's just basically a whole bunch of sugar with some natural strawberries. Because back then it used to just be like some weird pink shit that probably came out of a box. This new shit probably got like some. I don't know if they're fresh strawberries, but they do have strawberries in it. You can kind of tell now. Probably like a little bit of pulp, and I'm okay with that. Because I like I like orange juice with pulp too. I'm one of those. But it's a pastime for me because a long time ago, I used to go to Leschi Elementary. I used to go to Washington Middle School, but back in the Leschi days, around the time I started hitting like first, second grade and stuff like that, my mom, or excuse me, my brother was in he would have been in middle school, so he's like 5 years ahead of me, five grade levels, and also 5 years ahead of me. So my brother's like 5 years apart, right? And my mom sometimes she would pick up both of us, from this school and that school. So nonetheless, like there's a time period like after school we'd go to Starbucks that used to be on 23rd and Jackson, and that used to be one of the Starbucks that I believe Magic Johnson owned. So Magic Johnson, he had all his money and he was like putting his money into businesses and investments and stuff. And to my understanding, he was finding different Starbucks and coffee shops and just different types of establishments in different parts of the neighborhood. So he went to 23rd and Jackson, and to my understanding, either he partnered with Papa John's, excuse me, Papa Murphy's that was over there too, where Hollywood Video used to be, Hollywood Video and Game Crazy used to be at. I believe he partnered with Papa Murphy's. If not, he just made sure he bought free pizzas for everyone and he gave people free basketballs that went to Taft and shit like that. Because there were students that went to Taft, which is like a, math, electronics, computer kind of thing. I wasn't, I don't know shit about that. My cousins went to that shit. But it's interesting because my cousin was like, yeah, he got a chance to meet Magic Johnson. Basically, Magic Johnson pretty much used to own that Starbucks, but that's beside the point. My mom used to go there. So, my mom would take us there. It's a hood ass Starbucks right in the smack in the middle of the hood. And we just go over there. Um, and she would always get a strawberry frappuccino, always get that strawberry frap. It's just always this strawberry drink that would, like, over time, it was frozen, it would thaw out slowly, so you could just drink it the whole day. Topped with whipped cream. And it's really interesting because, like, around that time, like, even when her doctors were like, you need to stop with the sugar, because what ended up happening was around 2001, 2002 ish. It was really interesting because around that time period, I want to say that's when she was forced to retire. My mom was suffering from like some severe osteoporosis. So that basically means like I said, I ain't no scientist, I ain't no doctor, but to my understanding, the bone structure has a certain type of marrow inside. Like your bones have a certain type of density. Imagine if your bones were hollow in the middle. So her osteoporosis is making her bones really brittle and weak. So at any point they could break, if not just hurt themselves. If not, it was just constantly putting her in pain. Basically, that was a whole. It's a lot of shit going on with her health, like that had to deal with bones basically. But osteoporosis was one of the main things that kind of forced her to retire. She was doing a physical labor job. She was doing environmental services, housekeeping, things like that. And a lot of those jobs are very they're very unthankful and unforgiving. You know what I mean? Like the way that some of the people get treated. Some people were forced to call out. I work with a lot of people in that department, and it's just like a lot of those people are forced to call out because they end up getting sick or physically hurt. You know what I'm saying? They got to start utilizing sick time, PTO, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? FMLA, things like that. They got to start utilizing that shit, and then other people got to step in and then take the weight of someone else's floor, if not whatever they have to do for their assignment, and that ends up hurting the next person. So it's like what I'm saying? It's a domino effect of certain things. So anyway, it started to affect her. Now you can imagine, this is 2001, 2002. I'm only about 9 years old, 8 to 9 years old. So my mom would have been like somewhere in her 40s, I believe, if I'm doing the math right. Let me do the math real quick because she died at 64. So she died at 64, and here's the point I'm making. So yeah, around 44, she was forced to retire pretty much, and every time I get a strawberry frappuccino, I think about her because the point I'm making is that from the time I was 8 to 9 years old to the point I turned 29, for 20 years, I'm not saying I did the best job at taking care of her, but I will say that I did a lot of looking after her and just making sure that she was okay. You know what I mean? And it's not easy when you have someone who's 8 to 9 years old all the way up to 29 who should have been enjoying childhood and early adulthood, but then you have a responsibility of a mother as well as like a grandpa who was like sitting there just like handicapped. So we had two physically handicapped people in the house. The point I'm making is that she passed away, like I said, in back in 2022. Excuse me. Um, what's really interesting about that is I say this all the time. Everyone is fighting different battles. Everyone's dealing with grief differently. Everyone is just embodying certain emotions and shit like that. Let's do this right here. What I wanted to speak about mainly here was just the mass consciousness that we got going on. There's a mass consciousness of just people relating on on a weird level. Like it could be something as simple as like I literally just was talking about, like I'll be in voice chat on Discord. We're literally talking about somebody and then they pop into the chat. It's just weird shit like that. None of us are messaging the person on the side or nothing like that. They just end up showing up. We end up talking about someone, all of a sudden they message us. You know what I'm saying? we're talking about someone, we're speaking about someone, all of a sudden they leave us a voicemail, things like that. Just like small things, just like little small things, but it's just like there's a mass consciousness things where you're related to certain, you're very closely related. Excuse me, you're very closely connected to people, whether you're related to them or not. You understand? So for this TTH, Truancy Hour 204, I want to talk about mass consciousness, but more importantly, you know, there's this American angst. There's a mass consciousness of just shared American angst, whether we have, the same agreed upon traumas, but there's a shared American angst as much as there is individual deep seated anger. You know what I mean? Because I bring this up to say, like, I could sit here and blame my circumstances all day, but the circumstances are no longer happening. You got to keep that in mind, man. You can blame your circumstances all day. Talk about, like, damn, we grew up poor. We went through that. We went this, that, and the third. Oh, this is why I'm fucked up because I went through this, that, and the third. This is why I'm fucked up because I got put through this. Is it still happening? If it ain't happening no more, then what's the excuse there? You understand? At some point, it's cool to identify the issue, especially if you made a problem a bigger problem. If you continue to make things more problematic than they need to be, it's cool to identify that shit. It's always cool to identify that shit. But the moment you keep on identifying, like, oh, my bad, it's just my trauma. Oh, my bad, it's my ADHD. My bad, my autism kicked in. Yeah, it's always gonna be your bad, bruh. It's always gonna be your bad until you just start really making a change. You got to make a concerted effort, especially if it's affecting other people around you and other people surrounding you and shit. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it. So I look at this stuff sometimes where there's this American angst where, like, some people are constantly apologetic, constantly apologetic. One of the things that people say about people who are constantly apologetic, and my mom was one of them, and this is why it triggers me a little bit. Um, I gonna say I was told, but I was taught that, like, people were constantly apologetic, like they've either felt like they were inconveniences to people's lives, or they themselves were just you know, not necessarily valued. Let's talk about that a bit, man. We'll go American angst and deep-seated anger. And deep-seated anger. You know what I mean? Um, let's talk about the sorry person. Sorry, and we'll equate it to inconvenience. Oh shit, I spelled that wrong. Inconvene. Hey, hold on, bro. Veen. Yo, I'm butchering this. I'm butchering this. But you see what I was trying to write? You see what I was trying to do there? Sorry equals inconvenience. Let's stick to that topic. Back to university mindset. When you start empowering yourself and realizing how powerful of a person you are, how strong of a person you actually are, it's up to you, hopefully, to share that strength or even use it to help others around you rather than use it to damage people, individuals. You know what I mean? Let me check my green light real quick. Okay, my green light is on. My thing here with this is that, let's say I bump into somebody. I say that I'm sorry. I say I bump into an old person. I say that I'm sorry. What I'm sorry about is the fact that hopefully I didn't nudge them too much to knock them off balance. You understand what I'm trying to say? There's times that we're constantly sorry about things that are not even that problematic. Like, sometimes I'm at work and I'm passing a heavy item to the next person, and hopefully I'm doing it at a good pace and at a good height so that they can grab it and then not be too high and their shoulders aren't too messed up. It's too low. You understand what I'm trying to say? Some people do things in a very lazy manner. They're never apologetic about it. But I'm always apologizing at work. I'm constantly always just like, hey, my bad, my bad. Let me raise it up a little bit. You know what I mean? That's just me because I want to be able to convenience people properly. But my thing about it is, like, once you start tapping into the power of self a little more, you'll start to understand that, like, when you start saying sorry to people, it comes from a different place where it's just like, my bad for abusing my power, even though I didn't intentionally try to abuse my power against somebody. That could be as small, like I said, as small as just nudging into or bumping into an old person on the bus or something like that. They could barely get their balance as the bus is moving. Just little things like, oh, my bad, my bad. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? Just little shit like that. Little shit. So you got to ask yourself, when you find people that are constantly apologetic and sorry about certain things, they themselves never, They've always felt like an inconvenience, if not undervalued and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now, does that make them a good, bad person? I don't necessarily know. It probably makes them a humble person, and maybe they deserve certain things. But they might even apologize for the fact that they came across that way. You understand? They might even apologize that they came across that way, and now you're trying to bless them. So it's very tricky. So you always have to constantly find back to the university mindset. Find moments where you can apologize to yourself and apologize to hey man, I wasn't in the right mindset. I wasn't necessarily there yet. You understand? I wasn't quite I just wasn't there yet. So there's nothing wrong with apologizing. Just like, damn, I wish I was the person that I am now back in high school. I wish I was the person, boom, boom, back in this time. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times you can just apologize to yourself. Like, there's nothing wrong with just moving forward now. You see what I'm trying to say? Back in high school, I was this person that didn't want to go to no school dances. I was like, I don't do no dances. And it was wrong of me to do that because, my girlfriend and other people would ask me, like, or other girls, excuse me, they'd be like, you want to go to the dance with me? You want to go to this prom? You want to do that? And I'd be like, I don't be dancing. You should find somebody else. I ain't trying to do all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that kind of behavior made them want to ask even more. But my whole thing was like, if I was the person I was now, where like I don't need to be drunk to have fun, but there was a time period where I had to get drunk to have fun. You know what I'm saying? There was that time period, and I'm at a point now where it's like I wish I could have been this person back then, because then I could have just been able to have more fun. But here's the thing: them kids, you got to remember, them kids didn't have the same traumas that I did. Not saying that I had more, but they just didn't have what I had. They didn't have what was kind of suppressing me or bogging me down to the point where I was like, yeah, man, just don't ever get caught out there dancing. Don't ever get caught out there having fun. Don't ever be in public having fun. Don't ever be shown. You know what I'm saying? Because like for whatever reason, like ever since I was a kid, that was a sign of vulnerability and weakness. People take advantage of that. People want to, you know what I'm saying? So people who are always trying to um, create a moment for me to have fun, if they weren't family or someone I grew up with in the neighborhood or something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like someone I personally grew up with and I knew like from school, if not like a family member that was sitting there trying to make me have a fun time. If someone was sitting there trying to make me have a fun time, there's something there in the past or traumatically that was making me like, why are you over here trying to induce all this fun, happy shit? You trying to get me off my rocker? You trying to make me vulnerable? You trying to make me, you know what I'm saying? You trying to put me in a state where like I can sit there and just be a victim or some weird shit. You understand? I've seen it many times. I've seen where people just sit there and have fun. They play around, they laugh, and they dance. Whatever, not dance, but like they laugh and play around. People all of a sudden they getting socked in the face. All type of weird shit. You know what I'm saying? People just sitting there on some weird, like just deceptive type of shit. Straight deception. I've seen it a lot. I've seen people just sit there pretend to be somebody's friend and just have them robbed and shit. Motherfuckers pretend to be friends, boo boo boo, and all of a sudden the rah rah shit come out of nowhere. I've seen it all my whole life where it's just I don't be trusting that, nice shit. But then it's the funny part where I'm just like, you know what, man? As much as I don't trust it, there's a value to actually still doing this. You understand? There's a value to actually being that wholeheartedly. So that's why you'll constantly see me do right by people. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey man, I hope this helps make your day. I leave it at that. I ain't gonna try to induce no unnecessary fun. I'm trying to like we're not trying to induce no unnecessary shit. Make people uncomfortable. You know, let's just be fair. Let's not trying to make people uncomfortable. But I will say like, try to make people's day and come from a genuine place. So what I'm saying with this mass consciousness thing is like a lot of us, relate to that. We know some of us see the same shit. Excuse me. Some of us seen and witnessed the same shit. Where it's just like you see people getting a little too friendly. You're like, what's that? What's that about? That's some weird shit going on there. Something weird is about to happen because we're just so used to someone taking advantage of a good situation, taking advantage of good people. We see it a lot. You know what I mean? We kind of went off the rails there, but let's go into the deep-seated anger. Everyone has their individual deep-seated anger, and it comes out at the worst time. See, the whole point I'm trying to make with this shit, man, you know, I'll tell you like this. I'll never I'll never disrespect an American veteran because there's no telling what they seen, what they witnessed, but more importantly, what they signed up for. Now, hear me out. It's what they signed up for. So what does that mean? Like, like I say, I ain't trying to disrespect them, but like a lot of times I'll sit there and like, I've worked with veterans sometimes. I work with veterans and they'll sit there and tell me some crazy veteran stories. Like I work with veterans that come from the hood. So they have, the funniest shit that they say all the time. My guy from Chicago, my guy from Brooklyn, they know who they are. they'll sit there and tell me stories, and they're like, you know, it's funny, man. I've been had PTSD. I had PTSD back in Chicago. Bro, be like, I had PTSD back in Brooklyn. I had PTSD. You know what I'm saying? Another one was like, I had PTSD back in Tacoma. People would just be saying they had PTSD from the neighborhoods they come in. Sometimes I'll be working with these new veterans, man. They come from really wealthy, you know, I ain't gonna say wealthy families, but well off families, middle class, decent people. You know what I'm saying? They're coming from that type of shit. Hold on, let me look out the window before they try to kick me out. And then they'll sit there and be like, oh man, I can't believe I got reduced to doing this job. I just came from, you know, not too long ago, I was just carrying bodies and shit like that. And I'm like, damn, that's, you know, thank you for your service. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm thankful for the guy's service. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm like, I know we got some veterans that work here too. And the reason why they're not complaining is because, hey, man, if I ain't working a job, I'm going back to the same shit of why I went to the army in the first place. You understand? I know some people who went to the army and the navy just to escape the hood life. Some people was just like, hey, man, we ain't trying to be around none of this hood shit. You know, I turned 18. There's going to be starting to be less options. You know, no schools took me in. I'm not necessarily going to be able to afford certain colleges, maybe community college, but, you know, to get the money and work that up, like, yeah, I do some certain street things. Fuck that. I'm going to the army. That's how some people think. That's how some people's scarcity or their, you know, the scarcity of opportunities in their city, as well as the, excuse me, um, the type of city that they come from. That's what they have to do sometimes. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So some people I know, man, is some middle class veterans. Sometimes they'll sit there and just complain about. But then, you know, my whole thing is like, where would you rather be? Would you rather still be carrying the dead bodies? Would you rather be here? You know what I'm saying? Whether you're in a warehouse or whether you're over here working in a hospital setting, like whatever it is. Like, where would you rather be? It's like, no, don't get me wrong, it's peaceful here, but it's just like life has less meaning. You understand? So what ends up happening is like, whether it's the veteran or like just the person from the hood who has the PTSD, a lot of times, man, we'll sit there and be like, damn, y'all don't even understand. Y'all complain about this shit. You don't even know what I went through growing up. You don't even know what I went through, son. But that's why I said no disrespect to the veterans, because a lot of them guys, we don't really have a draft over here. You understand? We don't have a draft. I mean, we don't know if it's coming up for the next generation right now, but because we don't have a draft, some of the older veterans went through the draft, like they had to get drafted, right? But for the ones that are close to my age, it's like, no, you signed up for it. You know what you signed up for. Either you did or you didn't. Some people sat there and they got hoodwinked. You know, they signed up for something they thought was whatever. They ended up going out to Iraq. They saw some shit. They came back after 1 year like, nah, I'm good. They told their captain like, nah, none of that, none of that. You know what I'm saying? No more of that. Just 1 year. I know some people who did that, and I saw love and respect to like whether it was my guy who did 1 year or my guy who did 14. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker who did 14, though, he was sitting there. He was like, me. I saw the front line for a little bit, and I was like, nah, man, let me let me do some medical shit. Fuck all that, bro. Let me hit the medical. We're doing medical. And then it's funny because I used to work with him in the hospital, and he was like, man, that shit that they be doing over here ain't nothing compared to what I'm used to in the boom boom. You know what I'm saying? Like the yeah, whatever that shit was called. I forgot what he said, the little barracks or whatever. Like the which I understand. That's what I'm saying. I understand. I get it. You understand? So sometimes it's like when people sit there and complain about free lunch. You know, in my current job right now, we get free lunch. People complain about free lunch. I'm like, hey man, I grew up. You know, my grandpa would stand in line at the food bank and bring back some expired food for us sometimes, and we try to eat that shit as fast as possible because it was expired. But it's like it's also some of them you could like last for a while, like canned food. So it's like I don't be complaining about no free food. That's just me. I'm like, hey man, yeah, it might be a little dry, whatever. You know, I don't. You know, it's food. What you want me to say? So with deep seated anger, man, sometimes it's like, yeah, we walk around here, we wish life had a little more purpose. Sometimes we wish life itself gave back a little more than it takes from us sometimes. But you know, sometimes you could blame your own government, sometimes you could blame your own city, your own county, you could blame your own neighborhood, you could blame the people patrolling, you know, the cops patrolling in your area. Sometimes they take way more from you than you're giving out to the universe and the world. So I understand there's a deep seated anger sometimes, man. A deep seated anger, man, where people are just sitting there like upset. But it's like you can't make that shit everyone else's problem. You got to sit there and read between the lines like, yeah, this ain't what it used to be, but where would you rather be? Can you make the most of what's happening right now? And if you can't, then you might want to get the fuck out of certain people's ways, man. Because like there's other people that just be sitting there. You run into, you know, the next person that just sat there and is like, I'm sitting here because you don't know where I'm coming from, man. You don't know the shit that I've tolerated to get to this point. I'm okay with this job, even though like there ain't no meaning or purpose to it. It pays well and it's easy. That's all some people need in their life. You find some ease. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes leaving the house and putting that look on your face walking around with the, a chip on your shoulder, all that shit, moving around down the street type shit just to operate and just to move through the neighborhood, just to get to the fucking grocery store, just to get to school, just to get to the bus stop, school bus stop, all that shit. Just to get certain places sometimes you just gotta be on point. You gotta be outside ready for all the shit. And you're gonna flex before you get flexed on. But people wanna sit there and complain about, oh, this job ain't got no meaning, this job. Hey, you ain't wrong. But at least my 6 to 8 hours here is way more chill than the shit I'm used to. What the fuck we talking about? And I get paid for it. All the fucking stress and the whoop wop that I used to deal with growing up. Imagine if I got paid for that time. Imagine if you got paid for all the stressful shit that you went through growing up. That's for people that really had to go through that, all them et ceteras. You already know what I'm trying to say. If you know, you know. So my whole point is this, man. There's a deep-seated anger that everyone kind of embodies, whether it was like you getting out of your comfort zone or you having to come back and acclimate to American life or just coming back to people who are a little lazy or taking life for granted. I understand that too. That's what I'm saying. I understand where people are coming from. Don't tell me I don't understand. I get it. I get it. I might not fully understand exactly what you went through, what you experienced, what you signed up for, etc. I might not know exactly what happened in your city, what's going on internally within yourself, but I do understand that there's a deep-seated anger that everyone's going through. And what makes it worse, so let's be honest, what's making it worse is all these fucking wars breaking out all around the world right now, and we're publicly watching all of it happen. We're watching it all transpire. We're watching it all just happen at once. A lot of us feel a way about it. Some people, a lot of actually, you know what? I think all of us feel a way about it. Some people are really good at burying the fact that, like, hey man, you know what? That's life. That's just the way it be. I don't know too many people that are pro-war. You know what I'm trying to say? Because even the people who are saying pro-war, they love their form of peace of mind, whether it comes from a racist background or some other shit. Some people like their form of peace of mind. So we're all feeling some shit, man. Pause. We all feeling it. You feel me? I just want to say I recognize. That's all it is. I just want to say I recognize it, man. But my thing is, we got, when it comes to this American angst, man, all this fucking anger, man. We got all this anger going on right now. People just bottling it up. Other people just crashing out on each other. There's like crash out compilations. This shit looking like the old school World Star when they had the compilations of fights. People just throwing down, partying, having fun. That energy, that dark energy getting inside everybody, and they just want to throw down on people. Heads get busted. Some people got CTA. They walk around with it. They don't even fucking know it. They start slurring when they talk, and they start sounding out shit slowly, spelling shit slow. The math is all fucked up. And we're constantly inducing that shit on each other, bro. And I'm like, we got to dial that shit back a little bit. How do you do that? I mean, hey, man, I'm going to keep it real simple. Just work out. Drink your fucking water. Put that other bullshit down. Just go drink your water, man. Do a little workout. Do a couple push-ups in the morning. Do a couple squats. Do something simple. You ain't got to do no crazy shit. Go out there and run like David Goggins, man. Do some shit like that, bro. Let's get into this one, man. Let's get into this one. Everybody play a role amongst their groups of friends, if not family members. I'll speak on my household, man. My household is probably like the heart of the family. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, we might just be the muscles. We might be the legs. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times, I think like what's left sometimes is just the heart. And when I say about that is like a lot of the men in my family have all died from some form of heart problem. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's an enlarged heart, heart failure, you know what I'm saying, some form of heart problem. It's always constantly happening on my dad's side of the family. And one thing about all those men on the family, like whether it's my grandpa and then his 7 sons, what they've all done, and everyone can say is like, yeah, all the men have all been in some form of service. And I ain't talking about soldier shit. I think some of my uncles did actually. I think that some of them were like in the doing the Philippine Army shit, but I'm talking about some form of just always helping out, always mowing somebody's lawn, always helping out with defending someone's life or fighting on behalf of somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like just being the helping somebody move. Like me and my brother in our generation, we're just the people that they always call us to help carry the couches and shit. People are moving. We're always helping people move. We're always carrying shit for them. We're always helping people out. That's just what we do. That's just my household. That's just the men in our family on my dad's side. That's just how we get down. That's just who we are. So I would always argue that we're the heart of the family, but you know, it's less about me. It's more about those before me. Like those guys had a big heart. They had a like literally to the point where it killed them, but also like because one of my uncles died from an enlarged heart. I forget the specific fucking terms, but and like yeah. So it's just a thing. It's just normal for whatever reason. It's just normal. But my thing is like they've always held it down. My dad, he's always held it down. My grandpa always held it down, did the best they could. The reason why we exist in this country is because my great grandpa, my dad's dad, excuse me, my grandpa's dad, excuse me about that. So my dad's dad is my grandpa. My grandpa's dad is my great grandpa. And back then, what this dude ended up doing was he said, these ships came to the islands in the Philippines, and they're like, any men here that know a little bit of English, you can come to America, and we have some jobs for you guys. If you guys want, we can, take some jobs and shit. So he's like, shit, I'm gonna go on the boat. I know a little bit. Gets on the boat. He goes over there. As soon as all the men get on the boat to go get these jobs, all of a sudden World War II breaks out. Japanese soldiers showing up. They fucking up whole barangays and barrios and shit. If you know what that is, you know what it is. They fucking that shit up. My grandpa is a little kid. He said I was barely 10 years old. This is in the 1930s. He was barely 10 years old. So I'm seeing all this shit, man. We had a dude in the neighborhood. He was kind of like Mr. Rogers. He's like a really nice guy. I had to stuff his body in a crate. American soldiers marched up the mountain. Everybody flee upwards into the mountains. They started knocking on doors and shit. If not, just knocking doors down, talking about, you guys got any men in this house? He's like, no, we just got this little boy. That was my grandpa when he was a kid. He said, we'll take him. We need him to do some work. Took him all the way back down to the coast. He's down there. He said, you need to stuff these bodies in the crates. Crates are so fucking small and compact, he has to do this shit. He grew up seeing that shit. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Like, I come from a family where it's just like we constantly have to go through some shit because, like, in the next generation, you know what I'm saying? Same thing happens. They start opening up the little travel things, and my grandpa's like, you know what, man? I've been going back and forth to Seattle, but I'm gonna finally go just to Seattle and just spend some time with my dad, because, like I said, my great grandpa, excuse me, he got here first in the 30s. He got to the country first in the 30s. My family been in this neighborhood for a long time. My family been in the city for a long time. I ain't trying to hear shit. Fuck is we talking about? You know what I mean? And on top of that, it's like my grandpa's like, let me go spend time, boom, 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 with my dad in the States. He's like, all right, cool. So he leaves. This is the 70s now, or some shit. Like the 70s, yeah. I'm doing the math right. Yeah, it's like the 70s now. So like around that time he leaves, martial law breaks out. Now my dad, who's still in the Philippines, this dude is just sitting there being, what do you call this? A teenager or whatever. He's like a preteen teenager, whatever the fuck. So he's going through all this shit without his dad. They always take the men away from people. They always take the men away. You know what I'm saying? Then some shit breaks out. Now he didn't sign up for that shit. You understand what I'm trying to tell you now? Same shit. Come to my generation, it's just like my dad's like, man, I gotta go to work because if I don't make this money, we gotta pay for shit. We got two handicapped people in the house, etc. We gotta keep paying for shit. We just gotta keep paying for it. We gotta keep going to work, paying for shit, take care of shit. Cool. When I need someone around, when I need that male role model around, all I had was just walking around the streets. I just had an older brother and he was going through shit already, walking around the streets, walking through the streets, etc. We just in the hood, dealing with all the ignorance that the 90s and 2000s had fed us. I mean, you could say the 80s too, the residual effects of the 80s too, but that's a whole nother conversation. But it's constantly a thing where they take the men away for certain times of the day, time periods over and over and over again from the other young men, and we're constantly at this point. You understand what I'm saying? When I say heart of the family, what I'm saying is back to the American angst. Everyone has a form of that kind of story, whether they're from immigrant families or not. You understand? I mean, most of us, a lot of us ain't even Native American. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of us that are Native American, so a lot of us come from immigrant families. Let's tell the truth about it. Let's tell the truth. So when I say that deep-seated anger, everyone has a form of that where like somebody was removed from your life. If not, someone's time was taken away from your life to raise you, to guide you constantly. You got to find that time within yourself. You also got to start giving that time back to the kids before you. That's why whenever I see people that don't want to deal with kids or don't want the time to deal with them, whether it's their own or not, I already know there's some bitch ass motherfuckers, bro. I already know. So he's a bitch ass motherfucker. He ain't been through shit. You don't want to give no time or no energy or effort to kids, man. When I say the heart of the family, that lets me know like I've embodied and encompassed all this, and I've mentally understood, and everything that's happened 4 to 5 generations ago, and then we're living right now through the 5th and 6th generations of history that I understand. So all that vast knowledge of generations to come and generations to create, if not the generations that came before me, all that's like encompassed within me, intertwined within me. So when I say university mindset in the heart of the family, believe me when I tell you that. Believe me when I tell you that, bro, because I don't take none of that shit lightly. Motherfuckers want to sit there and speak all rah rah about the family, want to sit there and speak all etc. about the, I'm just like, nah, man, is there some preservation there? Could there be some evil powers that be that'll sit there and separate shit? Just sit there and figure out your whole family, whatever, figure out the whole health problems and all these issues and start separating shit, start dissecting shit within the family. And you allow that shit to happen every time that you crash out and sit there and fuck around and open your mouth way too much and not be, what I'm saying, educational and someone who's like heartfelt to try to reach the next person or whatever. So stop the bullshit. And that's my point. But when I say you the heart of the family, that don't mean shit. That goes to my second point. Let me make sure I read it correctly. Second point I made is right or wrong. Hold on. Boom. Right or wrong, you have to win. Right or wrong, you have to win. Plain and simple. Right or wrong, you have to win. Matter of fact, fuck right or wrong. Let's talk about function. You have to win. You understand? People want to stand on shit and be right about it. People always want to be correct in arguments and sitting there and talking to people. People always want to be argumentative, and I don't give a fuck. If you right, you right. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I've been told. You want to sit there and just harp on the fact that you're right. It's okay, you're right, whatever. Cool. But people just have to win. Because imagine you're constantly right, but you're a loser. You right about everything, but it's just like, what you got going on in life, man? I had a friend of mine, man. Shout out to my friend. This is one of my best friends, man. To the point that we always talk about each other like we brothers, man. But when his mom passed away, he was the oldest sibling out of all his siblings, and he wasn't working a job ever in his life. He just sat around the basement, motherfucker, just slept all day type shit. He was sitting there praying for blessings, hoping something would show up. He said, man, all that job shit, that slavery, all this boop, boop, boop. And he wasn't wrong, but it's like, yeah, you ain't wrong. You're right. The way you break it down, you're right. But like I said, mom died, and what happened? You can't even fucking feed your little brothers and sisters, man. You're the man of the house. There was no other man in the house. You're the oldest dude in the house. You're the oldest dude in the house. You write about everything. Everything you studied, everything you philosophized upon. You write about everything. But when shit hits the fan and the elders start dying, your own mom, who's the breadwinner, starts dying and the house starts being sold and given away, what you gonna do for the brothers and sisters? Everybody split the fuck up. It's all bad. Some of the motherfuckers is homeless now. What can I say? What could I do? What could I do? I'm already burying one person. I'm already burying the mom, trying to take care of some other family members. What we doing? But at the end of the day, he was always right. I see that shit with a lot of people, man. Motherfuckers will just sit there all day, arguing all day. Yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right. I believe, you know what I'm saying? Hey, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. He ain't wrong. At the end of the day, what does he do for himself? What does he do for others? He can't do shit. You looked out for people. Yeah, you had a couple, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's my guy because when I got in the studio, he laughed at the fact that I couldn't flow and he helped me with my flow. I wouldn't have been good at music at all if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't have been good at philosophizing and even thinking about all this shit if it wasn't for him. So I always tried to do for him. But what did he do for himself? He chose not to win, bruh. Shit fucked up. It's all fucked up out here, man. That shit hurt my heart. To think that, like, because both of our moms died the same year. And this is how we spent the time and energy. We're just sitting there still feeling whatever, sorry or hurt by himself. And it's just like, damn, you can't even hear us, man, because you're hurting this much. In this time period. You wasn't even hurting before, but you couldn't even hear us back then. What's that about? So I got to really just sit there and I'm like, man, I can't give my time and energy to too many people because on a functioning level, man, you just got to win at life sometimes. People sit there and be like, oh, I know a couple of people that sit there, they never had a job. They're just doing all this artsy shit. Man, I got to keep doing my music. Fuck a job. I can't function doing the job shit. I got to keep doing my music because this means something. No one's denying that. No one's denying that the music doesn't mean something. But everyone here in the household because you're under someone else's roof, right? That person's roof that you're under, they're making the sacrifice to not tap into their artistry and to just be a working machine to make sure you have that roof over your head, them clothes on your back, and some food on the fucking table, and a bed to lay in, and then the fucking temperature, the heater in the house can be up past 69 degrees, past 70. Someone else is making the sacrifice. So you can fuck around. Think about that. This is for all my artist people that live at home with their parents or live under the roof of someone else who is supporting them and allowing their bullshit to continue. It's like, yeah, we're not denying the artistry and the importance of it. But where's the balance of you making the sacrifice to make sure that that roof is over the head of everyone else too? Everyone's like, I got to keep doing my art. I got to keep doing my music. Meanwhile, them parents is over here suffering. They can't even get through to you because they babied you for too long. I know a dude is over here like, I got to write my little stories. I got to write my little comic books and all this goofy shit. He ain't never had a job in his life. It's just like, oh yeah, because you're under someone else's roof. It's easy to say that. It's super easy to say that. It's super easy to say that. If you're under someone else's roof, it's super easy. Where's the sacrifice? Where's the balance there? You'll let someone else suffer so then you can fuck around and then not even understand the business side of what it is you want to do. You do all this you do all this fucking art and shit, and all of a sudden it's just like, well, if it falls into place, if someone chooses to buy it, sure. No, man, run it like a business. Because you don't want to do the job, make this the job. Some people don't want to do that shit. You understand? So when I say, it's like, yeah, you're right. You're right. The job shit, the slavery shit that's encompassed behind it, you're not wrong. But the way that you're doing stuff for yourself is you're doing it at a very comfortable level. It's almost as if you were still 6 to 7 years old, just drawing. 6 to 7 years old, just singing out loud, freestyling, and just being an artist and being free. It's almost like you're reliving that. This is back to the angst now. When shit hits the fan, that angst really starts kicking in, right? Some people take that angst, they go straight to work with it. I ain't even really mad at it, because at least they're getting something. I'm not saying you gotta have a job. I'm just saying start running your shit like a business. Why not? Some people have been fucking around for a long time, man. Let's tell the truth. But here's the thing. Let's say you were doing all that shit and you did everything properly, or someone found you. That's what happens sometimes. Some people will find you and then start paying you for your shit. Someone found you, started paying for your shit. They gave you an opportunity, like, hey man, we'll give you an advance, and then we'll just, boom, we'll work on the royalty stuff, the splits, and then we'll just promote you to the world. Now you have a platform. Not only were you right, but you won. Let's bring it full circle here, man. Let's bring that full circle. So then what is winning? Is winning the fact that you can create some monetary gain out of it. So you can create some income out of it. I don't know if it's necessarily true. You understand? Because I'm making this right now. My channel's not even monetized. I'm trying to get to that point. Let's be honest. Let's tell the truth about it. The whole point is this, though. You're winning because you're being you and getting paid for it. That's simple. You're winning and you're getting paid for it. You're being you and you're getting paid for it. Understand what I'm trying to tell you? Everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants to do that. A lot of people don't even know who they are. A lot of people can't even dissect the shit that they went through or why they react a certain way that they do. Some people are just blessed to be around the right people to make sure that their artistry exists, if not is promoted and platformed finally. It's a blessing to be around people like that. It's a blessing. But again, back to the university mindset. There's a point when you start mastering, yes, you're correct about everything. You're right about everything. You're right about yourself. You're right about why you don't do shit. But let's start being right about everything around us too. You can be right about why that functions without being a hater. People will sit there and explain why things work out for their parents, why they work a job, and why the way they are. Sit there and hate on it all fucking day, but it's like, hey man, they supporting you. What you doing? Weird angsty shit. Because you can't hack what they do. You can't hack the sacrifice that they're willing to make sure you're fed. But you will sit there and judge them and feel like that they ain't shit because they're less passionate. Give it a couple more years. Let's see how defeated you start feeling. And right now, you're looking at somebody who's done a whole lot of trial and error in life. I know about a whole bunch of different shit because I'm doing a whole bunch of different shit at the same time. I never gave up on the music. Never gave up on training my body just to stay in shape. I mean, probably gave up on certain dreams, you know what I'm saying? Like certain sports dreams. That's a little different. Never gave up on the eBay stuff. Never gave up on the buying and flipping and selling. Just everything's happening all at once. It's all happening. And then all the energy right now is just being concentrated within the YouTube. And then, like I said, all this shit here that I'm spitting right here, it means nothing. It means nothing until I monetize and I win. I'm telling you. Because imagine this, I could sit there at every dinner conversation, every dinner table, back to university mindset. I'm always speak my truth and be myself and be proud of who the fuck I am. But I could sit there at every fucking dinner table, conversation with family, with other people, and just remind them that whether we are the heart of the family or not, I don't want to say that shit to game anyone to convince people why we should be valued. It sucks to have to do that, but it be that way. You understand? It sucks that it has to be that way, but it's that way sometimes. But understand what I'm trying to tell you is that every dinner conversation, what you got going on in your life, man. Yeah, I'm working 3 days a week. Well, how many hours you're working? Like 5, 6. Sound like an L, man, because a lot of people can't even pay rent or eat based off of that. I'm under somebody's roof. They're like, damn, you how old? You still under somebody's roof? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. People will forget about the times I was under somebody's roof and then paying for their car payments, waiting for them to pay me back. But I'm like, I'm not necessarily waiting for the payment. Like I did it because I'm like, you know what, man? I mean, you've driven me around a lot. I don't mind paying for your car. You this old and you never had a car. I never asked for rides. I know how to get places I need to. I know how to wake up early in the morning and get somewhere early. That's simple. I know how to open the Lyft app and buy a Lyft by making and flipping money. It's that simple. But the moment that the shit hit the fan and here I am reduced to 3 days a week, 5 to 6 hours a day, still living under someone's roof, still trying to recoup the debt that I used to pay off for my mom's funeral, and a lot of these motherfuckers didn't even show up to the funeral. You understand what I'm getting at? All that shit don't fucking matter, bro. You just gotta win. Because the moment that you show up, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, but it's the moment you show up being the guy that came from that shit, came from the fucking deficits, and then showed up and was like, yeah, man, I'm paying for motherfuckers' dinners, buffet shit. I pay for that funeral. What's the medical expenses? Boom, 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 boom. You don't do it to impress people. You do it because it's the right thing to fucking do. I'ma always do the right thing to fucking do. Understand that. I'ma always do the right thing to fucking do. I'ma always do the right thing to fucking do. Whether I have money or not. Your boy broke right now. Your boy looking fresh, but he broke right now. Tell me how that gets done. Don't give up, man. That's all it is. You understand what I'm saying? That's all it is, man. But that's what the winning is. Winning is just actually winning. Winning is just actually winning. I come from the Beyblade space, man. You can talk about your combinations all fucking day. You can talk about the combos you build, the decks that you're building, all that shit, all fucking day. But if you ain't winning, fuck is we talking about? I ran this down the third. How many times you been in the top 8? I run this down the third. And you're gung ho about it. How many times you been in the nah? See what I'm trying to say? But there it is, man. Let me wrap this up, man, because I might want to go see my friends later today, man. I'm feeling a certain kind of way, emotionally. I'm like, let me get out there. Let me go see the people, man. Let me go see what's going on, man. We're doing everything between the 40 and 50. You know what I'm saying? For the 200s, man. 200s, we're doing everything between the 40 and the 50, man. I had an extra note. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and spit. Oh, yeah, with all that being said, man, just having everything understood about your life, whether it's your personal whatever, it's hard not to be distant, man. There is a comfort in alone time, and that's a double-edged sword, man. That's a double-edged sword, so just be careful. There's a comfort in alone time. Just be careful with that. Sometimes it's very comforting where you want to just stay in that place, but I argue you shouldn't. But sometimes you do need to be alone to kind of recenter yourself. If you're an extroverted person, that comfort in alone time is necessary. If you're an introverted person, recognize the comfort in the alone time and then try to break out of it. Break out your shell a little bit. That was the last little note I had for this episode segment. But we'll leave it at that, man. Because, talking all this whoop wop, we just got to win. We just got to win. You could be right all day. You just got to win. Hopefully what I'm saying makes sense, man. My thoughts ain't always linear. You understand? They ain't always focused and concentrated the way I need it to be. But hopefully what I'm saying is making sense. Hey, man. 40 to 50 is the little zone now. We ain't doing them hours and hour plus type shit, man. We just doing what we can. Hey, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace.